what I figure your take will be for the first month. So what do you say? We partners or what?
Well, the idea of making extra money appeals to me, but why the sandwich business?
Because we don't have enough counter space to make kidney machines. So we partners or what?
Gee, it sounds kind of complicated. Selling sandwiches at a construction site? I don't know the first thing about business. You should ask Dorothy. Or Blanche. At least they'd have some input.
I know. So we partners or what?
Okay, how do I look?
The outfit's nice. Now go put some makeup on.
I'm wearing makeup.
Make sure you eat by candlelight.
Oh, Dorothy, you look lovely. You really do.
Lovely isn't good enough. She's got a date with Jeffrey, the Commodore.
He's a Commodore in the Navy?
No, Rose, the singing group. He's the one in the middle. Used to be on the end till Lionel Richie left.
You and Jeffrey have been spending a lot of time together.
Oh, yes. You know, just when I'd given up hope of meeting someone, along came the most gallant, sophisticated, charming man I'd met in ages.
And I bet he knows how to tie a lot of really neat knots. Dorothy, guess who's here?
My date.
Your husband.
I don't have a husband. Call the police.
Your ex-husband.
I'll call the police.
Hi, everyone. It's me, Stan.
Dorothy. In the future, I would appreciate a little advance notice when you're expecting a gentleman. I realize this time it's only Stan, but next time it could be somebody appealing or charming or at least reasonably good looking. No offense, Stan.
Point taken. Dorothy, could we talk for a minute?
Of course, for a minute. Come on.
You bring your wife with you, or did you make her stay home and clean out her toy box?
Don't you remember? I told you, Stan and Chrissy got a divorce.
I thought you said Stan and Chrissy got a horse. I'm 80, you gotta enunciate. Don't get me wrong. Horse, divorce, I could care less. I just hate being left with egg on my face.
All right, Stan, what's wrong?
What makes you think there's something wrong?
Oh, please, Stan, we were married for 38 years. You can disguise your bald head, but you can't hide your emotions. Now, what's wrong?
I lost it, Dorothy.
You never had it, Stanley.
The business. I don't know what I'm going to do. 22 years of sweat and blood, and suddenly it's all flushed down the toilet like a snotty ball of Kleenex.
You could always write poetry for a living. I'm sorry. I know how devastated you must be. I have one question, though.
I can still manage the alimony payments.
No, that was not my question. I was wondering if possibly we could discuss this maybe tomorrow. You see, I have plans to go out.
Dorothy, please. I'm afraid to be alone tonight. My world is crumbling around me. I'm at my wit's end. I don't know what I might do.
Oh, I do. You watch an old Barnaby Jones, eat a half-gallon of rum raisin, throw up, and fall asleep in your kimono.
See, Dorothy, nobody knows me like you.
Look, I really have plans.
I made dinner reservations at Monty's. You know how Monty's always cheers me up? We could take a walk on the beach, maybe go dancing at the Breakers, if there's no cover charge.
I really can't.
Dorothy, please, say yes. I need a friendly shoulder to cry on.
All right, give me a minute. Girls, I need a shoulder to cry on.
Dorothy, what did that creep do to you?
It's not for me, it's for Stan. He lost the business. He has to take his mind off his troubles.
What do you want us to do?
One of you, go out with him. Oh, I feel terrible for what he's going through, but I'm not about to cancel my date.
So you want me to cancel mine?
You don't have a date.
Nobody knows that. Well, I do it, Dorothy, but I'm really no good at listening to people's problems.
Rose, you're a grief counselor. It's what you do for a living.
I know, but I have the highest suicide rate in the office.
Look, Rose, if you don't want to go out with Stan, just say so.
I don't want to go out with Stan.
Oh, honey, I know that going out with Stan is a big fave.
The biggest? You're asking me to spend my evening with a man you yourself described as having the personality of a dial tone. And why? So you can go have a splendid evening with some dashing naval officer. Well, absolutely not. Under no circumstances will I even entertain the notion.
I'll let you borrow my cashmere sweater anytime you want.
No.
I will give you outright, my practically full bottle of Chanel No. 5.
Perfume or cologne?
Cologne.
Forget it.
I'll introduce you to all of Jeffrey's naval officer friends. Some of them have been at sea for more than 6 months.
make yourself comfortable, honey. I'll be with you in 2 minutes.
Here, use these potatoes. We're out of tomatoes.
Sophia, I don't think this'll work.
Yes, it will. We just say it fast. Bacon, lettuce, and potato. Bacon, lettuce, and potato.
What are you two doing up? It's after midnight.
Sophia and I are going into business.
How did she talk you into this, Rose?
Oh, Sophia didn't talk me into it. As she said, if I had half a brain, I'd have thought of it myself. Besides, it'll be fun, Dorothy. Just like when I was a little girl and sold Belgian waffles alongside the road.
You had a Belgian waffle stand?
Well, actually, they were English muffins that I carved little ridges in. But people bought them anyway. I was cute then, so I could get away with it.
Don't worry, you get cute again when you hit 80. How do you think I'm gonna peddle this slop?
How was your day?
Glorious, glorious. Jeffrey is a dream. It was even worth the guilt I felt over sticking Blanche with Stan. Incidentally, is she still speaking to me?
She's not home yet.
Poor Blanche. When Stan is depressed, he is the second most boring man in the world.
Who's the first?
Stan when he's not depressed.
Dorothy's born. This was the most bizarre evening I've ever spent with a man. Including the time with the highlight team from Nicaragua?
She said one man. That was the most bizarre evening she ever spent with a team.
Those sandwiches, I am starving. And they're bacon, lettuce, potato.
Potato. Work on it, Rose. Remember, you're not cute anymore.
I thought Stan took you to dinner. He did.
Let me guess. You were on your way to a lovely candlelit dinner at Monty's when out of the corner of his eye, Stan spotted a charming little Pakistani restaurant. Indian. Cocktails consisted of warm beer in 2 different shaped glasses. He did the ordering for you, would not let you see the menu, and when he paid the bill, he got change back from a 10.
A 5.
Dorothy, that's amazing. Try me now. I'll think about what I had for dinner.
Rose, I'm not psychic. I just know Stan's idea of a night on the town.
You know, actually, it wasn't so bad. I kind of enjoyed myself. Well, I didn't have to work to impress him, and he knew he didn't have a prayer of impressing me, so we just kind of relaxed and had fun. We're doing it again tomorrow night.
What?
Well, unless you mind. Oh, I guess I should have asked you first. I can just call him and cancel.
Oh, Blanche, don't be ridiculous. I mean, why should I object?
Well, he was your husband, Dorothy.
Was. We're divorced, remember? He left me for a woman half Blanche's age. Oh, honey, I think it's wonderful that you're going out with Stan again tomorrow night. Jeff and I are going to a formal dinner at the base. Oh, he looks so dashing in his dress uniform.
Dorothy had a date with the Commodore. Blanche had a date with Stan. I spent the evening making bacon, lettuce, and potato sandwiches.
Step out of Rose. The sun's coming up.
Why do we have to leave so early?
Because yesterday we ended up with a crummy location.
Well, then shouldn't we have dry ice or something to keep these cold till lunchtime?
Are you crazy? We should charge them extra for a hot lunch.
What are you two doing up?
It's not important. Go back to bed.
Ma, it's 5:30 in the morning. It's a little early to be selling lunch.
We wanted to get the best corner before Johnny No Thumbs shows up with his lunch wagon.
Johnny No Thumbs?
Well, actually, he has several fingers missing from each hand. It's remarkable to watch him make a veal and pepper hero.
Ma, you are trying to muscle in on a guy named Johnny No Thumbs? Are you crazy? He's probably connected with the mob.
Relax. If they were his friends, he'd still have his thumbs.
He's a very sweet man. Although the first time he waved hello, Sophia misunderstood and gave him the finger back. Why don't you go back and try to get some more sleep?
I haven't been to sleep. I'm too upset.
What's wrong?
I won't be seeing Jeffrey anymore. He's leaving town.
I knew it. The minute I heard you were dating a sailor, I said to myself, there'll be nothing but heartaches. Those swabbies drift into port parking ditties on your doorstep, show you some tricks they learned in the Orient, and then it's of ask me hearties, and they shove off with a serpent tattoo and your heart is souvenirs.
You've been reading Treasure Island again.
ancestors, the Vikings were a seafaring people, you know.
They also wore horns on their head and metal braziers. This is not the same.
So he dumped you, huh?
He did not die. Jeffrey is being transferred to the Aleutian Islands. He's going to a top-secret base where he can't have any contact with the outside world for at least a year.
He dumped you?
Yes.
Dorothy, I'm sorry.
Why is it whenever I think I've met Mr. Right, I'm wrong?
Because, Dorothy, you're not the most perceptive woman in the world.
Well, what's everybody doing up? I thought you all still be sleeping. We thought you were in your bedroom. Oh, where have you been? Where's Stan?
Stan?
Yes, we had the most wonderful time. I'll tell you all about it in the morning.
But, Blanche, this is the morning.
Well, so it is. So it is.
6 cakes of soap.
Dorothy, would you please speak to me?
1 can of cleanser.
No, I'm not going to get the cleanser until you talk to me. Oh, Dorothy, if you won't talk to me, how can I understand why you're angry with me?
Just coffee and a walk along the beach.
What about it?
Oh, come on, Blanche. When you come back from a walk along the beach, you spend an hour shaking the sand out of your underalls.
Just exactly what do you mean by that?
I mean that Blanche Devereaux does not stay out all night with a man just to go walking along the beach.
Well, never before, that's true, but as Beauregard Jefferson kindly pointed out on my 16th birthday, there's a first time for everything.
And last night was the first time you slept with Stan.
Oh, now that's a lie.
Oh, I see, so it was not the first time.
Oh, no, Dorothy! Dorothy! Look, get out of my way, you fool! Dorothy! Why won't you believe me? And better yet, why does it matter? You're not married to Stan anymore. You don't even like him. You practically begged me to go out with him to get him off your back. Now you're angry because I didn't have a terrible time? Why do you care?
Oh, I don't know. I just know I'm terribly upset because I'm letting this get me terribly upset. Oh, Blanche, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's all right. That's all right. Listen, last night you were dumped by the man of your dreams. It's not surprising that today you'd be a little irritable.
I know, but to be upset about Stan, I'm so embarrassed. I mean, it's not as if he means anything in my life.
Honey, I know exactly what you're going through. Believe me, I do. I'm just so glad we had this little talk. Oh. Because you know, if we hadn't, I feel a little strange about going out with Stan again tonight.
You're going out with Stan tonight?
He has tickets to the Burt Reynolds Dinner Theater.
And you're going?
Well, of course I am. I'd be out of my mind to pass up the chance to see Mr. Jamie Farr in the King Mutiny Court Martial. Oh, I hurt my back. I'm paralyzed.
Oh, it's you. Look where you're going.
We're almost through with our half of the list.
Rose, tomorrow I want to double the number of sandwiches. Grab some of that aluminum foil.
Are you two still gonna sell lunches, even after that Johnny No-Thumbs leaned on you again?
He didn't lean on us, Blanche. He said he had friends who would lean on us. Well, I got friends too. One phone call to Palermo, and Johnny's lunch wagon will be wearing concrete tires.
Oh, come on. The only person you know in Palermo is Uncle Vito, and he's a harmless old man.
Harmless? Give him a piece of piano wire, make fun of his limp, and see what happens.
Doctor, do you think they're really gonna make any money with that business?
One fabric softener.
Now what's the matter?
Tell you what's the matter. I cannot believe that you are actually going to go out with Stan again tonight.
Why shouldn't I go out with Stan again tonight?
You're right. It's my mistake. I thought you were my friend.
I am your friend.
Then why are you sleeping with my husband?
What are y'all looking at? Get on back to your LeSueur peas. Dorothy, I promise you there's nothing between us.
If there's nothing between you, then you will not go out with him tonight. Isn't that right?
We're only going to see a play, and he's not even her husband. He's our ex-husband. Why am I even explaining any of this to you? Why am I explaining this to anybody?
Who's Lenny? Tall, red hair, loves tuna on whole wheat. Let me ask you a better question. Why do we have his IOU for $2? Well, he didn't have anything smaller than 100, and we didn't have any change. What about these? Well, they all had hundreds, too. Rose, let me give you a few lessons in economics. Lesson number 1. Quit being an idiot. Okay. Lesson number 2. The law of supply and demand. Before you supply the sandwiches, you demand the money. Lesson number 3, quit being an idiot.
I thought you were Blanche.
Once I thought I was Bess Truman, but then they switched me to 20 milligrams a day. I had a cousin who thought he was Jiminy Cricket. Of course, that was at the height of the Pinocchio craze, and everyone at the bank went along with it.
And I wondered how the two of you got together to start a business. Let me know when Blanche comes in.
Are you two talking again?
Just long enough to give her a piece of my mind.
Do you think Dorothy's upset because she thinks Blanche is sleeping with Stan? Could be. Or is it because she thinks she's lying when she says she isn't? That's a good one, too. Well, don't you care that they're fighting? Of course I do. You think I have no feelings? Let me tell you a story. Picture this. A crowded Mediterranean port. Teeming with you're tired, you're poor, you're hungry. You know, your huddled masses yearning to be free. We boarded the ship and set sail for America. 500 people, filled with hope, singing, laughing, drinking. Actually, only the Irish were drinking. But I digress. Of course, on the second day, things took a turn for the worse. For the next month and a half, the storm-tossed seas made our lives a living hell. If I wasn't fighting for a warm blanket, I was fighting for food. If I wasn't fighting for food, I was fighting for the shuffleboard equipment. I just threw that in to see if you were paying attention. Anyway, the storm broke, and through the mist and the haze, I saw the beautiful lady I'd been longing to see for months.
The Statue of Liberty.
No, my mother! That's how dense the fog was. But beyond her was the Statue of Liberty. I remember the first words I shouted out. There she is, Lady Liberty. I also remember the second words I shouted out. Slow down, you yachts, you're going right past her. But he didn't hear. And that's why today, Rose, there's an unusually large Italian population in Spilsbury, Massachusetts. That's a really moving story, Sophia. What exactly is the point? The point is you already forgot lessons 1 and 3. Quit being an idiot. I stole $40 from you while you were listening to that cockamamie story.
She's not back yet?
No.
I don't understand. What could they be doing all this time?
You know what they're doing.
Yeah, I also know Stan. We were married for 38 years. And if you added up all the times that we did what he is doing right now, Blanche still should have been home 15 minutes ago.
Where are you going?
To either get ice cream or commit a felony. I'll decide in the car.
Yes?
Yeah, I'm Vinny. This is Rocco. Johnny Notom sent us.
Sophia, it's for you.
Who is it?
Dorothy.
Dorothy. Stay under the covers. I'll get rid of her. Dorothy, it's late. What do you want?
Open the door, Stanley.
Dorothy, you're in your nightgown.
I came here on an impulse. I couldn't help myself.
Well, it's really a nice gesture, babe, but I'm afraid I'll have to take a rain check.
Stanley, you truly are one chromosome away from being a potato.
Yeah, well, I gotta get up early tomorrow. I need to get to sleep, Dorothy.
You're wearing your toupee to bed. That means one of two things. Either there's a woman in your bed, or Suzanne Summers is on The Tonight Show.
Would you get to your point, Dorothy?
I didn't come here to see you. I came here to talk to her.
Dorothy, you...
Now, it'll just take a minute, and then I'll be out of here, and you can go back to what you were doing.
Thank you.
I have been trying to figure out all day why you're doing this. I've been trying to find one reason that would make it okay, but I can't. I cannot believe that you would jeopardize our relationship for this. I guess it's possible you were attracted to Stan. I mean, Lord knows I stayed with him for 38 years, but I think this time you could have resisted just in case it might have made a difference to me. And I think the thing that hurts me most of all you didn't have the guts to tell me that you're sleeping with my husband.
Well, gee, I would have. But I didn't know myself until about an hour ago.
Hey, what's all this?
Oh, Dorothy, aren't they beautiful? Johnny No Thumb sent them.
He sent you flowers?
You remember homeless old Uncle Vito? He sent a note to Johnny No Thumbs. He addressed it to Johnny No Knees. He got the message, we got the flowers.
Come on, Ma.
Well, I also told him that Rose and I are getting out of the sandwich game.
Well, when we went over the books, the profits weren't quite what we expected.
Tell me, is Blanche back yet?
Oh, she's in the living room.
Thanks. Blanche, I want to apologize.
Okay,
I apologize.
that's it.
I can't think of anything else to say. I behaved terribly.
I know.
No, you don't. Oh, I went to Stan's hotel room tonight because I thought you were there.
Well, I wasn't.
I know.
I told him that although there was nothing between us, I couldn't see him anymore.
Oh, I've been such a creep.
I know.
I wish I could explain it, but I can't. I think some of it may be that I didn't want to share my memories. I mean, that part of my life with Stan is over, but I still wanted it to be just mine, you know, and I was afraid that you might take that part away, and I was feeling jealous and lonely and God knows what else.
Magenta.
Excuse me?
Magenta. That's what I call it when I get that way. All kinds of feelings tumbling all over themselves. Well, you know, you're not quite blue because you're not really sad, and although you're a little bit jealous, you wouldn't say you're green with envy, and every now and then you realize you're kind of scared, but you'd hardly call yourself yellow. I hate that feeling. I just hate it. And I hate the color magenta. That's why I named it that. Magenta. No way to really explain it, but fortunately between friends you don't have to. Oh, Dorothy. Dorothy. Listen, now that we're talking to each other, can I ask you a question? Why in hell did you ever marry Stan?
It was my magenta period. And you know, Stan was rather handsome when he had hair.
Come on.
Yeah. He had a certain elegant charm.
Oh, please.
And of course, I was 4 months pregnant. How'd you do?
I got 35 people to sign up.
That's great. Wait a minute, Ma, 3 of these people are dead.
Who are they gonna tell? Hi.
Oh, hi, Blanche.
There you go.
Blanche, you've been gone 3 hours and you only got one guy to sign this petition?
Well, give me a chance to freshen up and change clothes. I'll get you another one.
Girls, I've got some bad news. I couldn't get Mrs. Claxton to sign the petition.
Oh, no, and that tree's on her property.
If she doesn't support the petition, the city will chop that tree down for sure.
I know it doesn't make any sense. Why would she want to cut down that gorgeous 200-year-old oak tree?
Because Frida Claxton is a miserable, vile, scum-sucking crank who gives nice old ladies like me a bad name. Believe me, she's a totally rotten human being.
Well, I, for one, don't think there is such a thing as a totally rotten human being. I think there's some good in everybody.
I agree with Sophia. I think that Mrs. Claxton is a mean old woman. Everybody in the neighborhood hates her.
How can you say that?
Come on, last Halloween, half the kids in the neighborhood wore Frida Claxton costumes.
Maybe she's just one of those people who needs to be shown some kindness. Like a fellow I knew back home, Ernest T. Minky.
I'm suddenly so hungry, I think I'll get something. Boy, that was a close call. If I have to listen to one more story about the colorful people from St. Olaf, I think I'll explode.
Ernest T. Minky was St. Olaf's librarian.
Kaboom!
He was also our town's only dentist. He had his office right in the library where he could do both jobs at the same time. But everyone hated Minky. Well, he seemed to take great pleasure in giving other people pain. They hated him so much that nobody ever went to the dentist or the library. In 1938, you could tell if someone was from St. Olaf. They were illiterate and they had teeth that looked like Indian corn.
Thank you, Rose. That was a wonderful story.
I'm only half done.
I passed a kidney stone once that was less painful than this.
One summer, I worked up enough nerve to check out the latest Nancy Drew mystery, and Mr. Minky was stamping my book, and his tie caught in the stamping machine. He'd have choked to death if I hadn't cut his tie with my Girl Scout knife. Well, he was so overwhelmed with gratitude, he let me check my book out for a whole week.
What's so special about that?
Oh, usually he'd only let you check a book out for an hour. Mr. Minky always said books belong in a library.
Really, Rose? I always thought Churchill said that at Yalta.
But the point is, some people you think are mean might just need a little kindness.
And some people, like old Lady Claxton, are just plain rotten.
Well, I'm going to prove you're all wrong. Now, there's a week left before the county commissioners meeting. I'm going to be as nice to her as I can, and I'll bet by the time I'm through, she'll be as anxious to save that tree as we are. Hello, Miss Claxton. This is Rose Nyland. How are you? Well, I've never sat on one before, but wouldn't that be
beautiful? Sophia, forget it. I tell you, we can't do that. Why not?
Because stapling a $20 bill to the petition is illegal. It's bribery, and don't tell us that's how you got things done in Sicily.
That's not how we got things done in Sicily. Bribing people with money is how we got things done in New York. In Sicily, a car for horse's head and put it in somebody's bed. Sophie, you know, making that, like hell. Our garbage commissioner, Fredo Lombardi, went on strike once. He woke up the next morning sharing a pillow with National Velvet. At 7 a.m., he was out clearing the street with his tongue. Sophia, we live in the greatest country in the world. A country founded on the principles of honesty, truth, and fairness. I am certain that once we present our petition, the democratic system will prevail, and our noble endeavor to save that mighty oak will prove victorious. Certainly sound pretty confident.
She slept with 2 of the commissioners.
That works in Sicily and New York.
I've got great news. I've just come from Mrs. Claxton's, and she says she wants to save the tree. You're kidding.
How did you manage that?
With persistence, I've gone to her house every day this week with a variety of homemade Danish, begging her to listen to reason. Well, she didn't want the apricot, and she didn't want the cheese, but today the prunes seem to do the trick.
Always does for me.
Anyway, after she snarfed down 2 of them, she said she'd save the tree.
Speak of the devil, here comes the miserable old witch now. Sophia. Well, Mrs. Claxton, how lovely to see you again.
Who are you?
I'm your neighbor, Blanche Devereaux.
Oh, yeah. I didn't recognize you with your clothes on.
I beg your pardon?
With my binoculars, I have a terrific view in your bedroom window. I think some of the stuff you do is illegal. I'm looking into it.
Miserable.
Mrs. Claxton, I don't know if you remember me. Dorothy Spornak.
Sure, I know you. You're the one with nothing going on in your bedroom.
Well, you miserable!
Mrs. Claxton, we want you to know we all appreciate you coming down here in person to help us save the tree.
I'm not here to save it. I'm here to make sure they tear it down. I hate trees. I hate people.
Well, Mrs. Claxton, Rose told us you said you were going to help us.
That's right.
And now you're not?
That's right.
Well, why did you lie?
To get the Danish. Look, there's nothing I hate more than someone who thinks that every person who lives alone wants company and a few kind words. I live by myself because I like it. I've got no use for people, never have. See you inside.
Ma, where are you going?
To throw some holy water on her. If she spits up pea soup and her head spins around, we're in big trouble.
It is the consensus of the committee that the promoter's petition for the outdoor Menudo concert be denied. Next on the agenda is the proposal to widen Richmond Street. Now, will the representative of those wanting to block the proposal please step forward?
Wish me luck.
Wait a minute, Blanche. Why should you do it?
Because we'll have a better chance. Dorothy, I happen to be a wonderful orator, and 2 of the commissioners can verify that.
Blanche, orator means speaker.
Really? Well, then somebody else do the talking.
Ladies, we're waiting.
Let me save everyone a lot of time here. My name is Frida Claxton. The tree is on my property, and I could care less if the city wants to cut it down.
Now, look, 60 people live on that block, and all of them have signed this petition to save the tree.
Concrete's cleaner. They'll get used to it.
Mrs. Claxton, please.
I also have pictures of the tree that I'd like you all to take a look at.
You want to look at pictures? I've got pictures. Of her roommate, the human Slinky.
Shut up, Claxton.
Were there any other faces recognizable on those pictures?
You shut up too, Ed.
Stop wasting the taxpayers' money. Yank out that tree and start pouring cement.
Mrs. Claxton, think about what you're doing. That beautiful old tree is 200 years old. How can you hate a living thing?
I hate you.
That's it. I have had all I'm going to take from you. Now, if you don't have the common decency to treat people like human beings, well, then I'm sure as hell not going to waste my time kissing your fanny. Now, if you don't like it, Mrs. Claxton, you just sit there and shut up while we have our say. And if you don't like it, just drop dead. Go on, Dorothy.
What happened?
You know when you told her to drop dead?
Yes.
I think she did.
Why do people die, Dorothy? Oh, Rose, please. I don't even know why fools fall in love.
I killed her. I might just as well have shot her with a gun.
Honey, the woman was 83. She had a heart attack. It was just a coincidence. Now, you haven't slept for 2 nights. You have to stop torturing yourself.
Well, Rose, honey, you can't sleep again.
No.
Oh, Rose, you have to put this terrible thing behind you. You killed Mrs. Claxton 2 days ago. I mean, she died 2 days ago. Well, Rose knows she didn't do anything. She's just upset. Rose, go to her funeral, have a good cry. You'll feel a lot better.
There isn't going to be a funeral. Mrs. Claxton didn't have any friends or relatives. She'll be buried in an unmarked grave in a potter's field.
Gee, that's too bad. Any more of that cheesecake?
Edge, how can you be so callous?
Well, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to pretend to be in mourning. Mrs. Claxton worked overtime at being a horrible, nasty woman.
Yeah, Blanche is right. I mean, that's why nobody wants to go to her funeral.
Dorothy, how would you feel if you dropped dead and nobody showed up at your funeral?
It's probably a personal thing, but for me, I think dropping dead would be the bigger disappointment.
I know there are going to be tons of people at my funeral.
How can you be so sure?
Because I was at my funeral when I was 16. I saw the whole thing.
What?
16 was a very difficult age for me. My hormones were racing, my body was blossoming. I had urges and yearnings so strong. Sometimes I'd wake up in the middle of the night just sweating and screaming and clawing like a trapped panther, unable to release the lusty, steamy passions that constantly threatened to erupt from within me.
When I was 16, I had acne and played the accordion in a marching band.
Well, nothing seemed to go right that year. But the final indignity occurred during the Miss Magnolia Blossom pageant. Instead of doing the right thing and awarding me the crown as the most beautiful girl in the county, they made me runner-up and awarded me Miss Congeniality instead. At that moment, I vowed to make that town pay for valuing my personality over my perfect body.
I hear that Vanna White has the same problem.
So I decided to kill myself to teach that town a lesson. I phonied up my death in a riverboat accident. I had the captain, who I was secretly seeing after school, help me with all the details. Everything went perfectly. Oh, the town had never seen a funeral like mine. Hundreds of people, beautiful eulogies. And then, just as the minister was getting everybody in a frenzy of grieving, I rushed out and said, "Yoo-hoo, it's me, Blanche. I'm not really dead." Well, the next thing I knew, my daddy was horsewhipping that riverboat captain and dragging me off to a religious girls' school in Atlanta. It was hard to get my daddy angry, but once you did, he could be a real peck of wood.
What's everybody talking about?
I can honestly say I have no idea.
We started out talking about Mrs. Claxton's funeral.
Yeah, but somewhere along the way we segued into Blanche, the miniseries.
I was on Lady Claxton's funeral. I want to pay my respects.
Pay your respects. I thought you hated her.
I did. But when a person dies, you go to their funeral to show the man upstairs you have respect for human life, no matter how wretched it was. Any idiot knows that. I knew that, see?
Well, Mrs. Claxton isn't going to have a funeral. She had no friends and no relatives.
Then we'll pop for her funeral.
Why?
To show the man upstairs that we have some regard for human life. No. It's an old Sicilian custom. It's good luck to bury somebody you hate.
You're not fooling me. You feel bad because Mrs. Claxton didn't have anybody.
Maybe I do and maybe I don't. What's it to you?
You're right. I'll chip in.
All right, Sophia, count me in too.
Oh, Sophia, I think you're a wonderful person. It's a lovely idea to share Mrs. Claxton's funeral expenses equally. Equally? I figure your share should be about half. After all, you're the one who killed her.
Let's just hurry up and get this over with. Blanche, try to calm down. Well, I can't help it. Funeral homes give me the willies. That's why I've always avoided them. I've only been to 2 funerals in my entire life, and I'm 45 years old.
You're such a liar.
All right, then 3 funerals. The point is, let's hurry up and get out of here.
Hello.
Oh, I'm all right. I'm fine.
You'll have to excuse her. Funeral homes make her a little nervous.
Golly, they used to make me nervous, too. You know, at a traditional funeral home, all they want to talk about is caskets, burials, dead people. Here at Forever Peaceful, we've gotten rid of all that morbid death stuff.
What are you running here, a sushi bar?
Come this way. Now, this is our slumber chamber. And, here's my card. How may I be of service to you?
Well, Mr. Pfeiffer...
It's Pfeiffer. The P is not silent.
Mr. Pfeiffer, we're interested in arranging a funeral.
Isn't that lovely? The 3 of you planning ahead for Mother.
Pfeiffer, how would you like a punch in your face? The funeral is for a neighbor.
Oh, well, my condolences.
No, there's no need. We didn't like her.
In fact, the whole neighborhood despised her.
Oh, I see. Well, how did she pass on?
She killed him.
Rough neighborhood.
Look, Mr. Pfeiffer. About the funeral arrangements. We'd like something simple, tasteful, yet
Incredibly cheap.
Let's get down to brass handles. Ladies, I'd like to present to you the winner of the 1985 Crypt and Casket Design Award. Paris has been talking about this one all spring. It's the Omega 3000.
How much?
You know, that top is hand-embellished gold leaf detail work. The satin interior is embroidered from a small textile mill outside Gstaad.
How much?
It's also lead-lined.
We're not burying Superman. How much?
$6,000.
My first house didn't cost that much.
Mr. Pfeiffer, we have already told you. We are bereaved on a budget. Now, if you can't accommodate us, we'll find someone who can.
You know, the Avante Supreme is a big seller. That retails for just $3,000.
What do you call this one?
A pine box,
How much?
$200.
Sold.
When would you like the services?
I don't know.
Well, how about Thursday night?
Thursday night? Crazy. Not Thursday. Hell no.
Sorry, I forgot. The Cosby Show. How about Friday?
You have a TV guide we could check?
Friday will be fine.
Thank you for your help.
You know, as long as you're here, have you given any thought to planning ahead for your own final farewell?
Well, not yet, but when I do, I intend to go out with a bang.
And she means that.
Oh my God, this is terrible. Such a tragedy. Such a tragedy.
Come on. Try not to upset yourself.
2 men on, the bottom of the ninth. That bunch of the Lupe Sora hasn't bumped.
Girls, I'm tired of sitting here. Let's go.
I can't believe it. There was an announcement in the paper. Her friends must have realized she died. Why didn't they come?
They were too busy celebrating.
You go ahead. I just want to sit here a while longer.
I hope I'm not too late for the funeral.
Why, no. No, not at all.
Oh, thank goodness. I would have felt just terrible if I'd missed it. She was one of my dearest friends.
Did you hear that, Dorothy? One of her dearest friends.
Yes. Oh, my. Well, we've been friends for nearly 60 years.
Would you mind saying a few words?
Me? Mind? Well, I'd be happy to. Today is a day of great sadness. Not only for me, but also for the many people whose lives have been touched by the warmth and the kindness of this woman who is lying here. I wish I knew how many charities and hospitals and orphanages have benefited from her generosity. But now no one will ever know, because she preferred to do all of her good work anonymously. I'm sure that a lot of people never even knew that she worked for 15 years in a leper colony. Yes, Celia Rubinstein loved all mankind. She was... Celia Rubinstein.
This funeral isn't for Celia Rubinstein, it's for Frida Claxton.
The Rubinstein funeral is down the hall.
I'm so sorry for the intrusion. Frida Claxton, wasn't she the woman who owned that old house on Richmond Street?
Yes. I guess you were all right. Frida Claxton didn't have a friend in the world. She didn't make any difference to anybody. She might as well never even exist.
Oh, Rose, honey.
Let her be by herself.
Oh, this has been a hell of a night. I'm glad it's over.
Well, at least we can feel good that we've done the right thing. Mrs. Claxton is in somebody else's hands now.
Well, I'm afraid for the moment she's in mine.
What?
Well, it seems there was a little mix-up out back, and Mrs. Claxton was cremated by mistake. We never should have hired a high school student.
Oh, well, whatever.
Ladies, you're forgetting something?
What?
Mrs. Claxton, we can't keep her.
Morning, Blanche.
Dorothy, I want to ask you something. Last night, about 2 in the morning, did you hear some shrieking and screaming and moaning?
No, but usually if your door is closed, I can't hear anything.
Not me. Those sounds were coming from that urn with Mrs. Claxton in it.
Oh, Blanche, now you were dreaming.
I am telling you, this house is possessed by her spirit.
Morning.
Oh, Sophia, listen. Last night in the middle of the night, about 2 in the morning, did you hear some awful, terrible, ghastly sounds?
Heard him, I made him. There's a reason they put expiration dates on cottage cheese. I kinged him for an Alka-Seltzer. Girls, I have great news. I found a final resting place for Mrs. Claxton.
Rose, you found one of her relatives?
No, I spread her ashes around the old oak tree in front of her house.
Well, what on earth for?
Well, to prove that her life had some meaning.
As fertilizer?
No! After I spread the ashes and said a little prayer, I went down to City Hall and I told them what I had done. And I pointed out that it might not be such a good idea to disturb a person's final resting place. And it doesn't look like they're going to cut the tree down after all.
Rose, that's lovely. Odd, but lovely.
Girls, come look at the tree. Oh, isn't it breathtaking?
Oh, it sure is.
And now it's always going to be there.
And all because of Mrs. Claxton.
Yeah, you know, I guess you were right all along, Rose. Mrs. Claxton did have a reason for being here.
You know, that tree's always going to be a reminder to me.
Reminder?
Reminder to do a little something nice whenever I can for somebody else. I want my life to have meaning while I'm still living.
What are you all looking at?
That beautiful old oak tree, Ma.
Mrs. Claxton's spirit's part of that tree now, Sophia. That's really lovely. And it's touching how that Great Dane is paying its respects.
What is a crazy thing for me now? It is spending time with you. I want to stay with you forever so that I can see you, love you, and care for you. Do you know what is a crazy thing for me now? It is spending time with you. I want to stay with you forever so that I can see you, love you, and care for you. I feel magical when you are around me. I feel that there is a connection of the heart and soul. Your love gives me a fire that I can internally feel. Baby, say yes, you are the light of my life. My love will never change. Do you know what is a crazy thing for me now? It is spending time with you. I want to stay with you forever so that I can see you, love you, and care for you. I feel magical when you are around me. I feel that there is a connection of the I have seen love before, but I never felt that great before. I can say proudly that I love you and your love is great. You are such an amazing man. I have seen love before, but I never felt that great before. I can say proudly that I love you and your love is great. You are such an amazing man. You have awakened a part of me. You have created something I've never knew. You not only care about me, but you always respect me as I am. You have accepted a part of me, and that makes all the difference to me. You are such an amazing man. I have seen love before, but I never felt that great before. I can say proudly that I love you and your love is great. You are such an amazing man. I have seen love before, but I never felt that great before. I can say proudly that I love you and your love is great. You are such an amazing man. You have awakened a part of me. You have created something I've never knew. You not only care about me, but you always respect me as I am. You have accepted a part of me, and that makes all the difference to me. You are such an amazing man. You have awakened a part of me. You have created something I've never knew. You not only care about me, but you always respect me as I am. You have accepted a part of me, and that makes all the difference to me. You are such an amazing man. you.